Okay, video 2. I made a statement that Erasmus would favor the utilization of as many manuscripts as possible. And then I was chided for pretending to know what Erasmus was thinking in heaven. Again, deflecting the argument. The basis for my making that statement was because of looking at the evidence of his life and work. When he was gathering manuscripts for his work, he was gathering as much as he could. As much as was available to him to use. Also, the fact that he has so many editions, he kept revising his work. When somebody looks at your life and looks at the patterns and things that you've done, said, valued, they can make pretty strong guesses as to how you would lean on things. We make statements all the time. Well, so and so would turn over in their grave if they knew what was going on. It's akin to that. All right, moving on. There was a defense made of the Douay-Rheims, which I find very surprising because the Douay-Rheims is a Catholic translation. It was actually the first English translation of the Catholic Bible of Catholics. When all these English translations were coming about, the Catholics didn't want to be left behind, so they produced the Douay-Rheims. I don't understand why a defense was made there. My point was that it is an important piece of evidence because it goes contrary to this anti-Catholic sentiment that you see running through all King James only folks, as well as if they want to immediately think that anything and all things Catholic are corrupt, then the fact that it was consulted and utilized in the translating of the 1611 King James, that's an important piece of evidence because it is contrary to the position of the King James only advocate. That was my reason for pointing that out. It doesn't bother me, but I know that it would bother that side. Comments made about my textual critic videos. In the very beginning I said, I don't know what the people watching the videos know. So therefore I had to start with very basic information and build up. If we're going to have discussions about the Greek manuscripts and why translations differ and blah blah blah, you have to have some understanding of textual criticism. Otherwise, you're going to make foolish and ignorant statements because you don't know. There was a comment made about my video 12, talking about data and computers and so forth. That was a quote. All those slides, at the very bottom of my slide, I cite my source. It's a quote from that. Okay? It's a quote. I didn't write it. So if it's bad grammar, it's not my bad grammar. Let's see. Obvious. Okay. Seems to me it's pretty obvious that most I don't even want to say most, but many King James only advocates don't believe in textual criticism. They just don't believe it. They don't buy it. They don't think it's legitimate. They don't, because, I'm sitting here with the King James Bible, the translators, the Holy Spirit of God was present in that room, or those rooms, because there was 3 locations that they worked on the translation, was present there with those men and was inspiring them the same way they inspired the Apostle Paul, Luke, Peter, Titus, not Titus, I guess Titus. These men who wrote the New Testament, John. It's late. Look, it is almost 2 o'clock in the morning. So before you start wanting to pounce on some little flips in my mind, understand what time it is. I'll stop there and continue on.